We're coming, and we ain't backing down.
We don't need a bunch of cats in here looking in the mirror.
Everybody just do your job. You understand that?
Hey, will you shut up?
I'm bitterly disappointed with the officiating today.
Guys being dudes.
And they run through our like through a tin horn, man.
Thank you, Lee. Thank you, University of Arkansas Money Community. Thank you, Arkansas Athletic Director Hunter Yurachek. Thank you, anyone else. Oh, thank you, Bobby Petrino. Thank you to all who were involved in facilitating this episode of The Job, Arkansas. This is a Split Zone Duo subscriber series in which Richard Johnson, my dear co-host, and I, Alex Kirshner, talk to you about the ins and the outs of jobs that have come open on the college football coaching carousel. Richard, how are you?
I'm doing well, and I have had more than 3 hours of sleep, which is the amount of sleep that I had last week when Arkansas indeed fired Sam Pittman, or Sunday, I should say, when Arkansas indeed fired Sam Pittman.
Sam Pittman, as we have since learned in the days since he was fired on Sunday, agreed to a negotiated settlement with Arkansas that knocked his buyout down by about $1 million or so. You know, that's a great way to endear yourself on the way out. You know,
well, like that is not why he did it. You know why
he had a weird contract where if he stuck around and lost a few more games, he would have gotten even less, right?
That is also not why he did it.
Why did he do it?
He did it because they got rid of the duty to mitigate clause that they had in the contract, which means Sam Pittman would have been required to continue to look for work. And Sam Pittman is at an age and at a level of health, he just had a hip replacement a couple of years ago, where I don't think my guy wants to work again. I was told in the summer that the feeling in the building was that he was going to retire at the end of the season. My man wants to go to the lake, drink a few cold beers. He don't want to be out here trying to look for a job. So they got rid of the duty to mitigate clause. Sam kicked them back $1.5 million. All's well that ends well. Congrats to both parties.
So in this series, The Job, this is, I think, the fourth-ish episode that we have done. We like to go through kind of a checklist in our role as industry consultants or what have you, and talk about, you know, whether a job is actually a good one or a bad one, or why it could be dependent, what's interesting about it. And we start just by going over how things have been going in this job. In the last 1 year, Arkansas has been around a 500 team. In fact, over the last 2 seasons, season and a half, they are exactly 500. They are 9-9 in Sam Pittman's last year and a half. In the last 5 years, Arkansas has been okay. Not great. Arkansas finished 1 year ranked in the AP poll. That was 2021, which was Pittman's second year. But the reason why the last 5 years feel okay is because the last 10 years, in particular, those dark, dark times from 2018 to 2019, showed exactly how bad it can get here, with Chad Morris going 0 for the SEC over a couple of seasons and Arkansas really being a laughingstock. So we've seen, Richard, that it can be pretty decent, not necessarily great or even good, but this can be a decent competitive SEC program that won 9 games in 2021, or it can be awful.
Like, really, really, really bad, and even worse now that Texas and Oklahoma are in the league. And I don't know what their schedule rotation is. I know it has Texas, I think, moving forward. Granted, that's only going to be a 4-year thing and a temporary thing moving forward because they're going to jumble the SEC schedule again. Because
LSU and Missouri are also Arkansas's protected opponents.
Gotcha. So we'll check in on that 4 years ago or 4 years from now when they have a look in on that. But in any event, yes. I think that at the end of the day, this was a team that, like, it's always going to struggle for talent. We talked about it heading into the season. There was not a ton of talent on this team. Why the last coach failed, is the roster any good? And the money thing, or especially because it's an SEC team, are all pretty hopelessly intertwined. They are questions that we ask ourselves about these jobs when we do an episode of The Job. And it all matters. Hunter Yurachek said at the press conference that Sam Pittman did not have the resources to compete in the SEC. Simple as.
Yes.
Flat out said it.
When we talk about why the last coach failed, Hunter Yurachek kind of went out and said it, or why at least one reason why he failed. Was there anything about Arkansas's management of the program, like in the building, that was within Pittman's control that you feel like he was particularly lacking at that also hurt him? Because we're going to talk a lot on this episode about the financials, but I'm curious about the stuff that you think was in his purview, if he did anything that jumped out to you that made them fail?
Other than hiring Bobby Petrino? Like, it's the Bobby Petrino thing is fascinating to me. Obviously, he did that, in my opinion, as a carrot to folks to maintain a little bit of job security. Now, obviously, that was letting the fox in the hen house. And let me just say, watching Bobby Petrino pull this off is like watching Michelangelo paint. I mean, real artist at work here, to be clear. Bobby Petrino greasing up boosters, et cetera, in the last few weeks. Getting rid of, by the way, a defensive coordinator who, yes, I understand they gave up 60 points to Notre Dame on Saturday, which isn't great. But firing a defensive coordinator that played for him at 2 different stops, to be clear, it's interesting when you bring Bobby Petrino into your building. It's interesting when Bobby Petrino is your offensive coordinator and you are a defensive coordinator for a lot of reasons. They brought the fox in the hen house. And I remember when they did that, like I was reporting on it, wrote a column about it. Hunter Yurachek and Sam Pittman did not want to comment on it at that time when I requested it. I was working at Sports Illustrated at the time. It's interesting. It was interesting how all that came into the mix. They had to get a waiver for Bobby Petrino to be rehired because you will recall Bobby Petrino was fired for cause and did not challenge the fact that he would fire for cause at that time. And, by the way, Bobby Petrino did not actually get fired for the thing you think he got fired for. He got fired for lying about it. That's the key thing. He got fired for lying about it at the time.
I think that perhaps people are at risk of, not people who listen to this show, I don't think, but I think a lot of people in college football or in the like plugged in reporter or agent community where there's sort of some transactionalism in how these things are talked about. I think some people might be inclined to talk about Bobby Petrino as shucks, we all make mistakes. We all have a past. Bobby Petrino had a relationship with a subordinate and lied about it and absolutely humiliated Arkansas's program on a national scale. And also the relationship with a subordinate thing. There's a reason why that's considered inappropriate and why that's wrong. The fact that Petrino is getting another go around at this is just objectively insane. Not to say that he can never work in college football again or be a head coach again.
Getting back
at Arkansas again is legitimately insane. I don't want to hear that it's like, oh my God, don't throw stones if you live in a glass house. If I had done that, would I expect that I could come back to Split Zone Duo and be on the mic again? I'd have to go and get another podcast at the very least. And even if 20 years have passed, you wouldn't then be like, welcome back. Completely insane that he's back in this. I think we do have to point that out for the record. But they've had a good offense. They've had a good offense, so you get the entire kind of run of the Bobby Petrino experience.
Well, I think it's pretty clear that Bobby Petrino is getting an audition here to fall flat on his face or get the job.
Isn't that ridiculous too? What, do you not know what Bobby Petrino is?
I think that if Bobby Petrino, if I was Hunter Yurachek, I would say, let's let Bobby Petrino go like 2-5 against the rest of the schedule. Because take a look, by the way, at what they have. It's both Texas's, Tennessee, Mississippi State, I think LSU as well. Like
correct.
It's a tough road to hoe.
And Missouri, who's going to kill them too.
Coming home. So I think there's a modicum of let the schedule take care of itself right now with Bobby and just create a situation where those in the Bobby Petrino corner do not have a leg to stand on. And there are very influential people at Arkansas, particularly in the booster group, who are certainly in Bobby Petrino's corner. Like, I just want to be clear about that. It's not a everybody loves Bobby or an everybody hates Bobby. It's a factions type situation here, which...
That is so interesting to give a guy the interim shot with the hope that he flops so that you don't have to hire him.
But the other thing is this.
I love Arkansas. My God.
The other thing is this. My read on the situation is if Bobby Petrino is the head coach of Arkansas next year, it's because a lot of guys have passed them up because of what they do or don't have. Let's talk about, from a personnel standpoint, what they do or don't have. Hunter Yurachek made this clear. They lack a significant infrastructure for advanced scouting, for instance. Their front office situation is weird. Remy Caulfield is the GM of both the basketball program and the football program. I talked to a guy who wants to get in on the GM space in college football. He's a front office guy. Let's just leave it at that. He's a source. We were having a conversation about it earlier this week. And I was like, well, what do you think about Arkansas? And he was like, man, why would I come work for a basketball guy in a front office setup that is very unclear? He was like, why would I do that? Versus Virginia Tech, for instance, that is very clear that they want an NFL style model. Sure. But walk with me here.
Richard's eyes are rolling as he says NFL style.